Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Aho Vakiyam Stankalkutam Jighansayapayadapyasadvi Lebhe gatim Dhatryuchitam tatonyam Kam vadayalum sharanam brajena Vande Vrindavananandam Vande Barasananandam Radhikam Parameshwari Gopikam Paramam Shuddham Ladinim Shaktirupinim Aho Chitram Vande Tat Prema Bandhanam Yad Baddham Muktidam Muktam Brahma Krida Prigikritam Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagvamha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukchurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. The Divine Souls. This week I've been explaining about the 4 types of actions that Shri Krishna describes in the Gita, which are Karma, Vikarma, Karma Yoga, and Karma Sannyas. If we understand these 4 types of karma, then we understand the practical essence of the Gita. We can only understand this through the guidance of a true saint. So whatever I'm explaining to you is only what I've learned from Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. So according to that, we know that karma and vikarma both keep us under the bondage of Maya and in the cycle of rebirth. Although karma is better than vikarma, however, from the perspective of gaining freedom from Maya and the attainment of divine bliss, both fail to deliver on those ultimate goals. Whereas Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyas both give that ultimate result. Although in appearance Karma Yoga physically looks identical to karma, because karma means doing all the good deeds and observing one's duties according to the Vedas, and avoiding those activities that are prohibited by Vedas. This is what karma means. So one who is doing karma yoga is also physically, apparently practicing the same karma as the karmi. Then what's different? The attachment of the mind is different. I told you that yoga means the attachment of the mind in God. The union between our mind and God is yoga. And union of the mind with God is another word for bhakti, or another description of bhakti. Therefore, what it means is when you add bhakti into karma, it becomes karma yoga. So the difference between the karmi and the karma yogi is, where is the mind? The karmi is desiring happiness from the world, and the karma yogi is desiring divine happiness from Shri Krishna. Itna sa antar hai. The karma sannyasi's physical actions appear like those of the vikarmi, because the karma sannyasi leaves all activities related to family, social duties. All of these things are abandoned, and so that would appear to be vikarma. According to the Vedas, if you abandon your duties, that's a bad action. However, what differentiates karma sannyas from vikarma, again, is the attachment of the mind. The karma sannyasi's mind is attached in Shri Krishna. They are always remembering Shri Krishna, and their goal is God realization. Therefore, they also attain what the karma yogi attains, which is freedom from Maya and God realization. Even though physically their karma appears to be very different, but the attainment is the same. And even though physically the vikarmi and the karma sannyasi's actions appear to be identical, but because of the mental attachment, their attainments are opposite. Even though the karmi and the karma yogi's actions appear to be identical, because one is attached in the world and one is attached in God, their attainments are opposite. So karma and vikarma keep you under Maya, and karma yoga and karma sannyas lead to God realization. This is the essence of these 4 types of actions described in the Gita. I also shared with you that Shri Krishna told Arjuna, I'm instructing you to do karma yoga, because if somebody imitates a karma sannyasi, they will only imitate their physical actions, therefore they will become a vikarmi. And if someone imitates a karma yogi, again, since only the physical actions can be imitated, at least they'll become a karmi, not a vikarmi. Therefore, Arjuna, do karma yoga. And he explained that I also do karma yoga when I come in this world. I have nothing to attain. There's nothing that is not already mine. And yet, I perform so many actions in this world for the good of people. Because people will imitate the actions of great personalities. Therefore, it's better for them to imitate a karma yogi than a karma sannyasi. And this is most likely why in the history of saints, in our long history of God-realized saints in Bharatvarsh, it is very rare to find a sannyasi saint, and very common to find grihasthi saints. Karma yogi saints are much more numerous than karma sannyasi saints. Even the ones who are living in the jungle are often married. Even the ones who are living in a hut or in an ashram somewhere, If you read the history, they're often actually married and have kids. And some of them even lead what one would call a normal, social, worldly life, physically speaking. Take the gopis, for example. Gopis are praised so much by Brahma that he says, Shashti varsha sahasrani maya taptam tapah pura Nanda gopa braja strinam padarenu palabdhaye tathapi namaya prapta. Brahmaji saying, I did severe austerities for 60,000 celestial years. That's millions of our years. Why? In order to obtain the foot dust of the gopis, because their love was so selfless. Yatha braja gopika nam. Narad Ji, who's an example of a karma sannyasi, he says, when giving the example, whom should I give as an example for selfless bhakti? He said, should I name myself? He says, no, there's someone better. He named the gopis. Yatha braja gopika nam. There is no one who compares to the gopis. The gopis are their only comparison. And yet they were householders, villagers, karma yogis, not karma sannyasis. So if we look in the history, we see many more karma yogis. And I'm talking of God-realized saints. Shri Krishna said, Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta maya nagha. Arjuna, I have stated in Vedas 2 ways of being in nishtha. Nishtha means in union with God. Total union means God realization. You can either be a sannyasi, you can be a karma yogi. So, although both are acceptable and both give the same goal, but if we look in history, there have been many more karma yogis than karma sannyasis amongst the God-realized saints. Even though we think of a stereotype, we think if you ask someone, describe your stereotypical idea of a God-realized saint, they'll say, oh, they should be a sannyasi. That will be one of the first things they'll think of. If you ask them, could they be married? Could they have kids? Could they wear jeans and a t-shirt? They would say, no, 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 no. All of the above are possible for a God-realized saint. God realization is internal. It has nothing to do with the external, even external behavior. Look at Durvasa Ji, famous for his anger of all things. The most disliked quality. Nobody likes somebody who's angry. You want to be away from them. He's Shri Krishna's Guruji. If he's not a God-realized saint, who could be? Shri Krishna, of course, doesn't need a guru, but in his leelas, he makes a guru. Durvasa Ji was his guru. So only a God-realized saint could be Shri Krishna's guru, even in his leela. And yet he's famous for his anger. So are we to say an angry person cannot be a God-realized saint? No, he's not angry on the inside. He may be acting in an angry way for whatever reason. It's always to benefit the souls. So an ordinary person feels anger, frustration, desire, and we struggle to control these emotions. A saint has no trouble. The saint behaves according to the will of God every moment of the day. Every breath is according to Shri Krishna's will. So what I'm saying is that Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyas, they give the same result, but Shri Krishna is recommending to Arjuna to perform Karma Yoga. He's not giving him permission, although he said, Yathechasi tatha kuru at the end of Gita. He says, now I've explained everything to you, you decide. You do as you please. But he's not telling him, he's not guiding him to abandon his duty, run away from this horrible event that's about to take place, this war, which he showed Arjuna is going to happen with or without him. He gave him that vision. All these people are already dead. They just don't know it yet. You cannot control who dies when. It's in their destiny. All these people are bound to die. You do the right thing. That's it. Don't worry about how unpleasant it's going to be or what relation you have to whom. Just do the right thing. Perform your duty. So he wasn't giving him the guidance to just run away, abandon his duty. And although Arjuna said, I'll just remember God all the time. I'll happily do that. That's karma sannyas. He said, no, you do karma yoga. So we got this far in the last 3 days. I explained this essence of these 4 types of karma. And yesterday I finished by saying, even though Shri Krishna says, Tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. In my opinion, karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. Nonetheless, practically speaking, Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj says everybody, every one of us should do both karma yoga and karma sannyas every day. Whether we are a householder or an ashram vasi, whether we are married or single, he says, practically speaking, to progress on the path of bhakti, you must practice some karma sannyas every day and some karma yoga. The balance may differ depending upon your lifestyle. An ashram vasi may do more karma sannyas wali sadhana, and a grihasthi may do more karma yoga wali sadhana, but both types of sadhana are definitely required for everybody. For an ashram vasi, for a person living in the middle of a metropolis. So why is this so? And in what way do we practically implement karma yoga and karma sannyas in our life? This is the most important part. This is how to integrate the philosophy of Gita. Gita is not just about understanding the theory. That's the beginning point, to understand the theory. But see, Arjuna did not just understand the theory. Arjuna became God realized. By the end of the Gita, Arjuna was 100% surrendered to Shri Krishna. In other words, he heard the theory, and right then and there he put it into practice. He became surrendered, got Krishna's grace, and became God realized. It may take us longer than that. But the goal is still the same. Implement the philosophy of Gita, which means integrate it into our daily life. How to do that? Practice karma yoga and karma sannyas every day. Okay, so let us first consider karma sannyas. Both require a little bit of detail to understand. How does a person practice karma sannyas? Practicing karma sannyas means just doing bhakti. Bhakti means what again? The mind attached to God. The union of the mind with God is both called yoga and it's also called bhakti. Or you can say bringing God into your mind is bhakti. Doing smarana of God is bhakti. That means karma sannyas. Sannyas means to leave. Leaving all other actions and activities and only focusing the mind on God is karma sannyas. Therefore, you are all doing karma sannyas right now. By definition, you are doing karma sannyas. It means you take time out of your day just to think of God. You set aside special time every day, whether it's 1 minute, which is not enough, but I'm just saying 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 hours, whatever it may be. You set aside special dedicated time where you turn your phone off, you leave all other responsibilities and activities and you only engross your mind in thinking of God. That's karma sannyas. So everybody can find time to do that. You find time to exercise. You find time to eat. You find time to bathe. You find time for recreation and entertainment, TV, video games, playing, talking on the phone with friends, gossiping. We find time for all these things. So we can also find some time just for Krishna. Practically, what do? I said bringing Krishna into your mind is bhakti. So Krishna has 6 aspects. God has 6 aspects. Naam, Roop, Leela, Guna, Dham, Jan. 6 aspects of divinity which are all internally one, but which have a different way to connect to them. Naam means the divine names. So when we do kirtan with the feeling that this is not just a sound or a word, but it's actually God's eternal divine name, which was never given or assigned or made up by anybody, but is an eternal divine power, and God himself is sitting in his name. When we chant the name with that faith, we're joining our mind with God. Roop, Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj calls it Roop Dhyan. Visualizing the form of Krishna or the form of any form of God, whatever form of God you're worshipping, visualizing the form using your imagination is not pure imagination in this case, because Krishna is omnipresent. He's even in your mind. Therefore, when you visualize his form, again, just like you have to imbue the chanting of the name with that faith that Krishna is in his name, you also have to imbue the visualization of his form with the faith that he is in this form. This is real Krishna. Just like when we look at a murti in a mandir, we do not treat it as a piece of stone or a piece of metal. We see omnipresent God who pervades everything is also pervading this murti. Therefore, this murti is God. It is not merely a material thing. Similarly, we imbue that divine feeling, what we call Bhagwad Bhavana, we imbue that in our imagination or meditation. It is meditation because you're focusing your mind on something. It happens to be God. We're focusing our mind on the form of God. In general, people meditate on everything but God. But meditating on God is so easy. We all have seen pictures and paintings and movies and serials about Krishna and Ram especially. So it's so easy to imagine their form. Even if the form of that actor who's playing Ram or the actor who's playing Krishna comes in your mind, it's okay. Krishna is in that person too. So just see Krishna in whatever form you can imagine in your mind. This is Roop Dhyan. Through this, what's happening? Your mind is gradually getting joined with him. And as I explained yesterday, that's a process. When you join your mind with God, the mind gets purified. So this is Naam, Roop, Leela, same thing as Roop, just a little more involved. Now you're maybe imagining some Gwalbals with Krishna, or Krishna and Mother Yashoda. You yourself have become a Gwalbal or a Gopi and you're joining in the Leela. Well, it's a little more involved, but it's the same idea as the Roop Dhyan, Leela Chintan, we can say. Guna. Guna means Shri Krishna's personality. He's playful, he's loving, he's charming, he's beautiful, he's kind, he's naughty. All these different aspects of his personality are his gunas. So dwelling upon these gunas is the same as meditating upon Shri Krishna. Every aspect of his personality is eternal and divine and one with him. Dham. His divine abode is also the expansion of his own self. So if you think of divine Golok, divine Vrindavan, and you're walking around with Krishna in this divine abode, again, You're joining your mind with Him. The divine abode is also omnipresent. And Jan means his parikar, his God-realized associates. Mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba, Gwalbals, Gopis, all of Ram's associates. These are all Jan. So meditating upon or remembering any of these 6 purifies the mind. All of this is called bhakti. Notice I'm not describing the physical form of bhakti, whether it be arti or puja or bowing down to do namaskar. These are all the physical helpers. Yeh indriyon se bhakti hai, sharir se bhakti hai. So that is also good. But one should not think that the physical devotion itself has any value. The physical devotion has value if it helps you do smaran of Nam, Roop, Leela, Guna, Dham, Jan. That's why saints and scriptures have introduced these physical forms of devotion, because different people with different personalities will find different practices helpful in increasing their smaran of God. But it's the smaran that is primary, not the physical act of devotion. Just like I told you, what's the difference between a karmi and a karma yogi? Their physical actions look identical. The difference is the mental attachment. So if you're doing physical bhakti and the mind is not thinking of God, then what is the value of that? You're going to get the result of whatever you're thinking of. You're thinking of eating pizza, but you're doing arti, then you get the result of thinking of pizza. You're not getting the result of doing arti. This goes for all the time we spend in devotion. How much of that time is actually spent thinking of God faithfully? So this is why Veda Vyasji has said, Idamekam sunishpannam dhyeyo narayano hari. Punah punah. He says, I did manthan over and over of all the scriptures, Vedas, Puranas, Darshan Shastras, everything, to find out the essence of all these teachings. And he said one essence, one nishkarsh came to the top. One, idamekam sunishpannam dhyeyo narayano hari. Dhyeya, dhyan, which is means smarana, chintan, remembrance, joining the mind with God. That is the essence of everything. All the spiritual practices and teachings come down to that one thing. So this is karma sannyas. When you cease all other activities and devote some time only for remembering God, that is karma sannyas. If you find that doing kirtan helps you remember God in that way, then do kirtan. If you find that doing some pat helps you, doing vandana, doing puja, whatever helps you do the loving remembrance of God, do that. But the essence of karma sannyas is thinking of Krishna. So there are some other details of how to actually do that, when to do it, how to sit, for how long. We'll get into these details tomorrow. But I want to give you a short preview of what Karma Yoga is, because now you understand the outline of how to integrate Karma Sannyas into your day. How do we integrate Karma Yoga? When we're not doing Karma Sannyas, we're not supposed to forget God. How is it possible? Well, think of it this way. Bhakti is not supposed to be a formality that we fulfill, like some quota that we fill. Okay, I did 1 hour of bhakti today, I'm done. I'll see you tomorrow morning, Krishna. Same time, same place. Is that how you love someone in the world? You think, okay, I love my child so much. I'm going to think of them now for 15 minutes non-stop. And then the rest of the day you stop loving them. If you love someone, they're always in your mind. It comes so naturally to us in the world because we're deeply attached to the people we love. The challenge for us initially is that we're not deeply attached to Krishna in that way. We have to develop the attachment. So we develop the attachment by practicing karma sannyas. Then that gives us the ability to remember Krishna more and more throughout the day. Eventually we'll reach that point where our attachment to him is as deep as our attachment to our family members, and then he'll be in our mind all day, just like our love for our family members remains in our mind all day. But until we get to that point, we need to implement a couple of techniques which were taught by Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. So I'm going to conclude today by teaching you these two techniques. You can practice them tomorrow and then we'll meet again for the final session. The first technique is intermittent remembrance, not Urup Dhyan. So intermittent means, first of all, once an hour. Start with once an hour. You go to the office or you go to school or wherever you're spending your day, when you're starting your day's chores or your work day, put Krishna in a place. Okay, this is my desk. I'm sitting here with my computer. Krishna, you're here. Just 3-4 seconds, think about it. Okay, he's with me. Real Krishna is here. Now do your work for a whole hour. The next hour, when it starts, take a couple second break. Don't get into deep, detailed Rup Dhyan. How is Krishna's earring? What is the peacock feather's angle? How beautiful are his eyes? These are the details you do when you're doing karma sannyas. This is how you keep your mind engrossed. When you're just in the middle of working, you just want to break the time of forgetting him because you probably forgot him for the whole hour. So you stop what you're doing for 2-3 seconds and just look at that place that you had assigned for Krishna and say, okay, Krishna is with me, he hasn't left me. That's it. Now go back to your work. Another hour. Again, stop. Throughout the day we have so much negative, you can say chintan ki dhara, just like we'll keep having these negative spiraling thoughts. This will at least break that. Or if we're thinking critically about someone else, that will break that durbhavana, that paradosh darshan that we're doing. We'll think, oh yeah, Krishna's with me. He's right here. He's listening to all my thoughts. He knows everything I'm thinking. Oh, I better straighten out. So it gives us at least once an hour a touchstone. Oh yes, I'm not alone. Krishna is with me. That will develop a habit now. So once we get accustomed to this once an hour, what Shri Kripaluji Maharaj says is, now cut the time in half. Use a chime on your phone or on your watch if you want to make sure you don't forget to do this technique. So then once every 30 minutes, think of Shri Krishna. Just for a couple seconds. Even if you have a boss standing over your shoulder, is he going to give you trouble for taking a 2-second break to do that? No. You do this, you sneeze, you cough, right? You look at the clock. So keep doing it once every 30 minutes. When you get accustomed to that, you can even cut it in half again, make it once every 15 minutes, just for a couple of seconds. This technique will habituate your mind to keep thinking, I'm not alone, Krishna is with me. So you can practice that tomorrow. The other technique is when you have some time where your mind is not fully, you don't need the full engagement, full involvement of your mind. Like let's say you're driving I mean, you can drive and talk on the phone, right? So why not do this next thing? Kripaluji Maharaj says you have to keep breathing throughout the day. So do Radhe breathing. Radhe breathing means Shwas Shwas se Radhe Naam ka Jap Karna. When you inhale without vocalizing, just silently, as you inhale you say Ra. And as you exhale you say De. Radhe, Radhe. So if you can talk on the phone while you're driving, you can do Radhe breathing while you're driving. If you can walk and talk to someone, then you can walk and do Radhe breathing. You can cook and do Radhe breathing. You can do a lot of things while doing Radhe breathing. Probably not computer programming or accounting or having a conversation with another person. But in between, when you get these breaks where the full mind is not required to be involved, then instead of letting the mind go where it wants, into worldly desires or thinking some negativity, worrying, whatever our mind likes to do, discipline the mind by saying, okay, mind, now I'm giving you an activity. Until the next time you have some work to do, you're doing Radhe breathing. That keeps your mind at peace, keeps you connected to Radha Krishna, and actually it counts as sadhana. This is Karma Yogi sadhana. You're purifying your heart by doing this. So this is something you can implement on your coffee break, when you have a 1-minute break, any time throughout the day, or any time you're doing an activity where the complete involvement of your mind is not required. You can try doing this Radhe breathing. So this is where I'll end today's topic. Tomorrow we're going to go into more detail because there are still questions about how to actually do karma sannyas. If you're sitting to meditate on God, questions will come up like, well, my mind wanders. What to do? How should I sit? What time of day to do it? Are there any restrictions? And regarding Karma Yoga as well, there's some more philosophy to understand about how to make this Karma Yoga easier and be something that we can actually practice every day so that we can progress on the path. So tomorrow will be the last time that we're meeting here at the temple. Tomorrow's Friday. And then Saturday we're having an outing. We're meeting for some time up at